The idea that following your passion leads to a fulfilling life is one of the most popular yet debated concepts in modern self-help and career advice. On one hand, we hear inspiring stories of individuals who chased their dreams and found joy, purpose, and even success. On the other hand, critics warn that this advice may be misleading or unrealistic, especially when passion alone doesn't pay the bills or align with practical constraints. So, can following your passion truly lead to long-term fulfillment, or is it a romanticized myth? To answer this question, we must first define what we mean by passion and fulfillment. Passion refers to a strong enthusiasm or dedication to a specific activity, idea, or cause. Fulfillment, on the other hand, is a deep sense of satisfaction and contentment derived from living a meaningful life. These two ideas can certainly overlap, but they are not interchangeable. Passion can drive you, but it doesn't automatically guarantee the lasting contentment that comes with fulfillment. There are countless examples of people who pursued their passions and found profound happiness. Think of the artist who lives modestly but joyfully painting every day, or the teacher who feels energized by helping students grow. These stories reflect a deep alignment between what someone loves and what they do, and such alignment can lead to a powerful sense of purpose. In fact, psychological studies have shown that people who engage in activities they are passionate about tend to report higher levels of well-being and life satisfaction. However, passion without direction can be like a fire without a fireplace. It burns, but it can also cause chaos. Following your passion blindly without considering your skills, opportunities, or responsibilities can lead to frustration and even burnout. Someone may be passionate about writing poetry but struggle to make a living through it, leading to financial stress and disillusionment. This doesn't mean they shouldn't write poetry, but it does suggest that passion needs to be partnered with strategy, adaptability, and sometimes compromise. Moreover, not everyone knows what their passion is, and the pressure to find your passion can be overwhelming. For those who feel uncertain or lost, the idea that fulfillment depends on discovering one perfect passion can feel like a cruel myth. In reality, passion often develops over time through experience, exposure, and growth, not through a sudden moment of revelation. Sometimes showing up, doing good work, and making a difference in people's lives fosters a passion that wasn't initially there. Another important consideration is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, doing something because it's personally rewarding, often leads to a stronger sense of purpose than extrinsic motivation, like money or status. Passion usually falls into the category of intrinsic motivation, which is why it's so powerful. But when passion becomes monetized or tied to external rewards, it can lose its luster. The musician who once loved playing for fun may lose their joy when the art becomes a job, complete with deadlines, client demands, and commercial expectations. Additionally, life circumstances play a major role in whether following your passion is feasible. For individuals dealing with poverty, health issues, or family responsibilities, prioritizing passion may feel like a luxury rather than a path to fulfillment. In such cases, purpose may come not from passion itself, but from perseverance, service, or creating stability for others. Fulfillment in these instances may not stem from doing what you love, but from loving what you do, or at least finding meaning in the sacrifices you make. That said, passion doesn't have to be the centerpiece of your career or life's work to be meaningful. It can be a sustaining force that you incorporate into your life in smaller but significant ways. A full-time accountant might find joy and purpose in weekend photography. A parent may discover passion in volunteering at a local charity. These pursuits can enhance well-being and provide a sense of balance, even if they never become a full-time vocation. It's also worth noting that passions evolve. What you were once deeply drawn to at 20 may feel irrelevant at 40. Fulfillment, therefore, may depend not on following one static passion, but on being open to growth and reinvention. The ability to recognize when a passion has run its course and the courage to explore new ones may be just as important as following any single passion. So, is the idea of passion leading to fulfillment a myth? Not entirely. It's more accurate to say that passion can be a powerful ingredient in a fulfilling life, but it's not the only one. Fulfillment is multidimensional. It comes from a combination of purpose, relationships, contribution, resilience, and yes, passion. But passion needs to be rooted in reality, balanced with wisdom, and pursued with both heart and head. In conclusion, following your passion can lead to long-term fulfillment, but only when approached with nuance and intentionality. Passion is not a magical solution. It's a dynamic force that must be integrated with effort, practicality, and a broader sense of purpose. For those who are willing to pursue their passions mindfully without expecting them to carry all the weight of their happiness, fulfillment is not just possible, it's within reach. The journey to fulfillment through passion requires patience and self-awareness. Many people mistakenly believe that passion will always feel exciting or effortless. In truth, even the most deeply loved pursuits come with challenges, doubts, and hard work. A person passionate about starting their own bakery, for instance, might be thrilled by the idea of baking and creating, but they'll also face the realities of bookkeeping, marketing, and long hours. If someone expects passion to erase all struggle, they may feel disheartened when real life hits. That's why grit and perseverance are often better indicators of long-term fulfillment than fleeting emotional highs. Psychologist Angela Duckworth, in her research on success and passion, highlights the importance of grit, the combination of passion and sustained effort over time. Fulfillment doesn't come simply from enjoying what you do, it comes from sticking with it when it stops being easy. That's when passion deepens into purpose. Additionally, aligning your passion with a greater cause or need outside yourself can multiply the sense of fulfillment you experience. Passion that only serves self-interest may eventually feel empty, but when it contributes to others, when your photography tells untold stories, your writing uplifts communities, or your business solves a real problem, it gains significance. Fulfillment grows when we realize our lives are part of something larger than ourselves. It's also important to give space for self-compassion during this pursuit. Society often glamorizes passion as something bold, loud, and extraordinary, but passion can also be quiet and steady, a love for reading, gardening, mentoring, or simply being present with others. Just because a passion isn't public or profitable doesn't mean it's less valid or meaningful. True fulfillment is deeply personal, not performative. For some, the pursuit of passion will change everything. It will redirect careers, reshape identities, and redefine success. For others, passion will be a sustaining companion, not a path, but a presence, a reason to smile, a way to cope, a space for joy in a busy world. Both paths are valid, and both can lead to fulfillment. Ultimately, the key is not to idolize passion, but to integrate it. Rather than asking, should I follow my passion or play it safe? A more helpful question is, how can I bring more of what I love into what I do? That subtle shift allows room for both realism and aspiration, for structure and spontaneity. In closing, the myth is not that passion can lead to fulfillment, but that it's the only route, or that it will be easy. When nurtured with persistence, grounded in reality, and connected to purpose, passion becomes a powerful compass. It won't always point to the smoothest road, but it often leads to the most meaningful destination. So if you're wondering whether to follow your passion, the answer isn't a simple yes or no. The better answer is follow it wisely, follow it boldly, and let it shape, not define, your pursuit of a fulfilled life. To carry this forward, it's valuable to reflect on how we define success in relation to passion. In a culture that often equates success with wealth, status, or productivity, following your passion may seem like a detour rather than a legitimate path. But true fulfillment doesn't always mirror external measures. It's often found in quiet victories, the satisfaction of growing in your craft, the joy of being in flow, the peace that comes from authenticity. This is why internal alignment is so critical. When your values, talents, and passions begin to converge, even in small ways, you start to live more congruently. That congruence breeds clarity. You stop feeling torn between what you should do and what you long to do. And with that clarity comes a different kind of success, the ability to say, I am doing what I was made to do, even if no one else fully sees or understands it. Another essential factor is timing. You may not be able to drop everything and pursue your passion full time today, but that doesn't mean you never will. Passion doesn't have to be pursued recklessly. Sometimes the wisest approach is to nurture it quietly while building the foundation to make a bigger move later. Nights and weekends spent honing your craft, volunteering in a field you care about, or learning something new can prepare you for opportunities that haven't yet arrived. Equally, passion doesn't have to result in a single grand purpose. Many people live rich, fulfilling lives by weaving different passions into a meaningful whole. A person might teach by day, write by night, and coach youth sports on the weekend, not because one role defines them, but because each one speaks to a different part of who they are. Life's purpose isn't always a straight path. Often, it's a mosaic. And here lies perhaps the most liberating truth. Passion is not something you have to chase frantically. More often, it's something you grow steadily. It deepens through experience, matures through discipline, and multiplies when shared. You don't find it as much as you build it. The more you invest in your interests with curiosity and courage, the more passion reveals itself. To summarize, the belief that following your passion leads to fulfillment is not a myth, it's a partial truth. Passion alone is not a guarantee, but when paired with wisdom, work, purpose, and patience, it can absolutely become a force for long-term meaning and joy. Fulfillment doesn't come from living a life free of sacrifice or uncertainty. It comes from living a life that feels like your own, guided not only by duty or default, but by something you genuinely care about. So if your heart is tugging at a passion, listen, give it space, feed it, let it grow quietly or roar loudly depending on the season. And remember that fulfillment isn't always found in the big moments of passion, but in the consistent alignment of what you love, what you value, and how you choose to live. In that space, purpose takes root. And in that purpose, a deeply fulfilling life begins to bloom. As we bring this article to a close, it's important to acknowledge that not every journey of passion will look like a success story from a motivational book. Some passions will flicker and fade, others will evolve. Still others will challenge you, frustrate you, and force you to stretch beyond your limits. But this too is part of the process. A life of passion isn't necessarily a life of ease. It's a life of depth, a life where meaning is not always handed to you, but forged in the tension between your longing and your reality. This is why the pursuit of passion, when done wisely, requires resilience. You may face rejection, failure, or even ridicule, but those who find fulfillment through passion are often those who refuse to let these obstacles redefine their worth or extinguish their inner fire. They adapt, they learn, and they keep going, not because it's easy, but because something in them knows it's worth it. And let's not overlook the ripple effect of living a passionate life. When you pursue something you care deeply about, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives permission. Your joy becomes contagious. Your authenticity creates space for others to step into their own. Passion has a way of lighting not just your own path, but the path of those around you. So can following your passion truly lead to long-term fulfillment? Yes, but only if you understand passion not as a finish line, but as a thread you weave through your choices, your values, your relationships, and your work, a thread that doesn't guarantee a life without struggle, but promises a life infused with meaning. Ultimately, fulfillment doesn't come from chasing a perfect passion. It comes from showing up with heart in whatever you do. It comes from choosing to care, to grow, to serve, and to create, even when no one else is watching. When you follow your passion not as a command, but as a calling, when you allow it to evolve, adapt, and ground you, it becomes more than just a source of excitement. It becomes a way of life. And that, in the end, is no myth. It's one of the most enduring truths about being human. We are wired not just to survive, but to live lives that matter. And passion, wisely pursued, is one of the surest ways to get there. If you're someone standing at the crossroads, perhaps wondering whether to follow a long-held dream, take a leap into the unknown, or simply devote more time to something you love, start small. Test your passion in the real world. Give it time to breathe and grow. You don't need to quit your job or abandon all stability to begin aligning your life with what excites you. Instead, begin by asking honest questions. What activities make me lose track of time? What am I willing to do even when it's hard? What do I care about so deeply that I want to get better at it, not for praise or money, but for the joy of mastery? Asking these questions creates self-awareness, and from awareness comes direction. Maybe your passion isn't a career, maybe it's a lifestyle, maybe it's a way of serving others or staying connected to yourself. Whatever it is, let it take shape naturally. Let it inform your goals, but not enslave them. Let it challenge your comfort zones, but not destroy your stability. Let it call you toward wholeness, not perfection. We live in a world that often confuses productivity with purpose and busyness with meaning. Passion cuts through that noise. It reminds you of who you are beyond your roles and routines. It roots you in something more enduring than trends or titles. And whether you express it in your work, your art, your relationships, or your community, it keeps you anchored in what truly matters. There's a unique fulfillment that comes when your outer life starts to reflect your inner truth. You feel less like you're chasing something and more like you're becoming who you were always meant to be. That is the gift of passion, not just excitement or inspiration, but alignment, a sense that you're no longer waiting to live because you already are. In the end, following your passion is not a guarantee of a perfect life, but it is a gateway to a more authentic one. It won't remove all obstacles, but it will give you a reason to keep climbing. And even when the path twists, or the spark dims, or the world tells you to be more realistic, your passion will quietly whisper, "Keep going. This matters. You matter." And that voice, persistent and true, might be the clearest sign you're on the road to something far better than comfort. You're on the road to fulfillment. And when you look back years from now, you may not remember every obstacle you faced or every misstep along the way. But you'll remember how it felt to wake up with a sense of purpose. You'll remember the quiet thrill of doing something that mattered to you even when no one else saw it. You'll recall the small victories, the moments when something clicked, when your effort bore fruit, when your heart felt full, not because everything was perfect, but because you were living honestly. Those are the memories that last, the ones that remind you it was all worth it. There is a kind of peace that comes when you no longer need to explain or defend your path, when you know deep down that you are doing what feels right, not what looks impressive, not what others expected, but what resonates with who you are. That peace doesn't arrive overnight, but it grows stronger with each step taken in the direction of your true self. It becomes your anchor when things get hard and your compass when the road ahead seems unclear. Sometimes passion doesn't show up as a loud, all-consuming fire. Sometimes it's a steady ember, glowing quietly, waiting for you to give it air. It might have been there since childhood, tucked into old journals or long-forgotten hobbies, or it might be something new that catches your attention and refuses to let go. Whatever form it takes, it deserves your attention, not because it guarantees success, but because it brings you alive. And isn't that what fulfillment really is? Not just a destination to reach someday, but a way of living that allows you to feel awake, connected, and whole. A life where you are not merely passing time, but truly inhabiting it. A life that reflects your values, your hopes, your deepest joys. So if you've been waiting for permission to begin, take this as it. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the willingness to start, to listen, to follow the thread of what calls to you, even if it leads you down winding paths, even if it takes longer than expected. That journey is sacred. It's yours. And the more you walk it, the more you'll realize that passion was never just about what you do. It was about becoming who you were always meant to be. And becoming who you were always meant to be is not an event. It's a process, an unfolding. It doesn't happen all at once or in dramatic flashes of revelation. More often, it happens in ordinary moments. The early morning when you choose to write instead of sleep in. The long walk that clears your thoughts. The quiet evening spent doing something just for the joy of it. These small, deliberate acts shape you. They add up. They create the kind of life where passion isn't just a feeling that comes and goes, but a thread that binds your days together with meaning. You begin to notice that you're less restless, less haunted by the feeling that something is missing. You may still face the same challenges, financial pressures, doubts, fatigue, but they no longer define your life. What defines it instead is the quiet certainty that you're living in alignment with your deepest self. And that, more than anything external, becomes the source of fulfillment. It's not about escaping struggle. It's about knowing the struggle is in service to something you love. People might not understand the choices you make when you follow your passion. They might question your direction, wonder about your security, even worry for you. But they don't need to understand. They don't have to feel what you feel or believe what you believe. Only you know what makes your spirit rise. Only you know the cost of silencing that voice inside you. And only you can decide what kind of life you want to build with the time you've been given. You'll find, too, that as your passion becomes more integrated into your life, you stop needing validation from outside sources. You no longer chase approval or wait for recognition. The doing itself becomes the reward. The work becomes the joy. The process becomes enough. And from that space, the pressure to make it or prove something begins to dissolve. What's left is a deeper, quieter motivation, the kind that lasts. There is no single formula for fulfillment, no universal path that works for everyone, but there is a common thread among those who live fully and love deeply. They are connected to what matters most to them. They honor their gifts, nurture their interests, and allow themselves the freedom to pursue what makes them feel alive. They don't wait for perfect clarity. They don't expect the road to be easy, but they keep showing up, because they've decided their lives are worth living with intention. So let your passion guide you, not blindly, but boldly. Let it challenge you to grow. Let it teach you discipline. Let it open your eyes to beauty and complexity. And let it remind you that fulfillment is not a luxury reserved for the lucky few, but a possibility available to anyone brave enough to choose a life that feels real. When you look back one day, you'll see it clearly, not just the big moments, but the countless small choices that carried you. You'll recognize that fulfillment was never a distant goal. It was there all along, woven into the journey, waiting patiently for you to follow the quiet, persistent pull of your passion. And in that recognition, there will be peace. Not the fleeting peace that comes from comfort or predictability, but the deep, abiding peace of knowing you honored what was true within you, that you didn't dismiss your desire to live meaningfully as a foolish dream or a childish hope, that you made space in your life for what moved you, even when it cost you convenience. Fulfillment through passion is not about constant excitement or unbroken happiness. It's about depth. It's about waking up and feeling rooted in something that matters. It's about facing your days with a sense of inner direction, even when the outer path is unclear. When you live this way, your life begins to take on a different tone. There's a quiet confidence in your step, a steadiness in your spirit. And slowly, without needing to prove anything, you become someone whose life speaks, whose days are not wasted, but lived with attention and care. Others may notice the difference in you, not always in words, but in presence. You'll show up more fully because you're no longer divided inside. You'll offer more freely because your work isn't a transaction, it's an extension of who you are. You'll live more honestly because you've stopped hiding from your own longing. And through that kind of living, you give others a glimpse of what's possible. At some point, you'll realize that the fulfillment you were searching for didn't arrive in one grand moment, but in 1,000 quiet ones, in the times you stayed true to your values, in the hours you gave to what you loved, in the nights you wrestled with uncertainty but chose not to give up, in all the choices that looked small on the surface but built a life of substance beneath it. And perhaps that is the ultimate promise of following your passion. Not that you'll avoid pain or find perfect clarity or reach a flawless destination, but that you will live awake, that you will participate in your life with your whole heart, that you will look back not with regret for what you didn't do, but with gratitude for what you dared to try. And in that space, in that honest, imperfect, passionate life, you will find not just fulfillment, but the quiet joy of having truly lived. And when all is said and done, when the seasons of your life have turned, when the days have taken their shape and meaning, you'll understand that fulfillment wasn't some far-off prize reserved for a select few. It was always within reach, always waiting in the spaces where passion met persistence, where longing met courage, where effort met love. You'll see that you didn't need to be extraordinary to live fully. You only needed to be sincere, willing to listen to what stirred within you, and brave enough to act on it. Even the missteps will feel worthwhile because they were part of a journey that was truly your own. The wrong turns, the delays, the moments of doubt, they won't tarnish the path, they will define it because you chose to risk, to care, to step beyond the safe lines others drew for you. You chose to believe that your life could mean something more than simply getting by. And that belief, however quiet, however tentative at times, was enough to change everything. As the years pass, you will begin to see how passion softened you in some places and strengthened you in others, how it refined your character, not just your skills, how it taught you patience, humility, resilience, and joy. Passion, when followed with wisdom and grace, doesn't just shape what you do, it shapes who you become. And in becoming someone whose life reflects what they love, you offer the world something rare and beautiful, the light of authenticity in a world often dimmed by fear. Others may call it inspiration. They may admire your path or wonder how you found it, but you'll know there was no magic formula. There was just the decision, again and again, to stay connected to your heart, to not give up on what mattered, to keep moving even when you were tired. And over time, that decision carved out a life that was not perfect, but real, not always easy, but rich, not always certain, but deeply fulfilling. That is the quiet reward of following your passion. It doesn't promise the easiest life. It promises a life that feels alive, one that bears your fingerprints, one that reflects your values, your dreams, your very soul. And when you reach the end of that life, you won't measure it by titles earned or possessions gathered. You'll measure it by how true you remain to yourself, by how often you said yes to what sets your spirit alight, by how deeply you loved what you did and who you became in the process. And in that final moment of reflection, you'll realize you didn't just follow your passion, you lived it, and it led you home. That sense of coming home is the truest fulfillment there is. It's a settling of the soul, a quiet knowing that your life, with all its twists and turns, has been lived with intention and heart. It transcends achievements and accolades because it's rooted in something deeper, the simple but profound alignment between who you are and how you choose to show up in the world. Following your passion is not about chasing an ideal or a fleeting feeling. It's about nurturing the core of your being. It's about honoring the unique combination of talents, interests, and dreams that make you who you are. When you live in this alignment, even ordinary moments carry extraordinary meaning. The daily routines, the small tasks, the interactions with others, they all become part of a larger story, one that only you can tell. And while the journey of passion may not be smooth or predictable, it is undeniably rich. Each challenge, each breakthrough, each lesson learned adds depth to your experience. Your passion becomes a lens through which you see the world, coloring your perspective with hope, curiosity, and resilience. It helps you find beauty in the mundane and purpose in the struggle. Ultimately, the question of whether following your passion can lead to fulfillment is answered not in theory, but in the lived experience. It is answered in the quiet moments when you feel truly alive, in the connections you make, and in the legacy of authenticity you leave behind. Passion is not a guarantee of success or happiness, but it is a powerful catalyst for a meaningful life. So let your passion be a guide, a companion, and a source of strength. Embrace it with openness and courage. Allow it to shape your choices and your character. And through this, discover the profound fulfillment that comes from living a life that is unmistakably, undeniably your own. In the end, what matters most is that you live fully, embracing your passions not as fleeting whims, but as invitations to engage deeply with life. The path may not always be clear, and the road may at times feel steep, but each step taken with intention brings you closer to a life of meaning. Following your passion is not a guarantee of an easy or perfect journey, but it is an invitation to authenticity, growth, and fulfillment. When you commit to this journey, you open yourself to transformation. You become more than just a spectator in your own life. You become the creator of your story. This act of creation is itself deeply fulfilling, for it honors the unique gifts and desires that only you possess. Through passion, you connect not only to your own purpose, but also to the world around you, contributing in ways that resonate far beyond yourself. And so, as you move forward, hold fast to your passion, nurture it, and allow it to evolve. Recognize that fulfillment is a living, breathing process, a dance between who you are and what you do, between dreams and reality, between hope and perseverance. This dance may be complex and sometimes challenging, but it is also beautiful and profoundly worthwhile. Let your passion be the compass that guides you toward a life that feels genuine and alive. In doing so, you not only enrich your own experience, but also inspire others to seek their own fulfillment. And in that shared journey of discovery and growth, you find a deeper connection to the very essence of what it means to live with purpose. So take the first step or the next step with confidence. Trust that following your passion is not just a possibility, it's a powerful, transformative choice that can lead you to a life filled with meaning, joy, and fulfillment. As you continue on this path, you may find that passion evolves, shifting and deepening in ways you didn't expect. What once sparked excitement might mature into a steady commitment, or new interests may emerge that call you in different directions. This evolution is natural and healthy. It reminds you that passion is not a static destination, but a dynamic part of your growth. By remaining open to change, you allow your life's purpose to unfold authentically, adapting as you do. Remember, fulfillment is not measured by how quickly you achieve your goals or how grand your successes appear to others. It is felt in the subtle moments of alignment, when your actions reflect your values, when your work feels meaningful, and when you experience a sense of peace with where you are, even amid uncertainty. It is cultivated through patience, resilience, and a willingness to embrace the full spectrum of life's experiences, both joyful and challenging. The role of passion in life's purpose is profound because it connects you to something beyond daily tasks or external rewards. It connects you to your deepest self, to a wellspring of motivation that fuels perseverance and creativity. Following your passion encourages you to live with intention and authenticity, fostering a life where fulfillment is not an elusive dream, but a lived reality. In embracing this truth, you take an active role in crafting a life that matters, not only to you, but also to those you touch along the way. Your passion becomes a beacon, illuminating the way forward, not only for yourself, but for others seeking their own sense of purpose and joy. Through your journey, you contribute to a larger story of human experience, a story of courage, hope, and the enduring quest to live fully. to continue to listen closely to what moves you, to honor your passions with commitment and grace, and to walk your unique path with courage. In doing so, you discover that fulfillment is less about a final achievement and more about the richness of the journey itself, the unfolding of a life lived in harmony with your true self. As you walk this path, you'll come to understand that following your passion is not about escaping reality or avoiding the difficulties life inevitably brings. Instead, it's about meeting those challenges with a heart anchored in what truly matters to you. Passion gives you the strength to persist through setbacks, the clarity to make difficult decisions, and the resilience to keep going when the road feels long. It transforms obstacles into opportunities for growth and deepens your connection to the purpose you pursue. You may also discover that passion encourages generosity and empathy. When you engage deeply with what you love, you often develop a desire to share that love with others, to uplift, inspire, and support. This outward expression of passion creates a ripple effect, extending fulfillment beyond yourself and enriching your community. In this way, passion becomes not only a personal journey, but also a contribution to the world, creating meaning that transcends individual experience. It's important to recognize that passion is not confined to grand or extraordinary pursuits. It can be found in everyday acts of kindness, in the dedication to a craft, in the nurturing of relationships, or in the quiet pursuit of knowledge. What matters is the sincerity with which you engage, the authenticity with which you live. Passion thrives when nurtured with honesty and care, no matter the scale or context. Ultimately, the question of whether following your passion leads to fulfillment invites you to reflect deeply on what it means to live a life of purpose. It challenges you to move beyond mere survival or conformity and to step into a life shaped by your own values and desires. This is not always easy, but it is profoundly rewarding. It allows you to create a legacy not just of achievements, but of a life lived fully and authentically. So embrace your passion as a vital part of your journey. Let it inspire you to live with intention, to face challenges with courage, and to connect deeply with yourself and others. In doing so, you open the door to a fulfillment that is rich, enduring, and uniquely your own. And as you embrace your passion with such wholeheartedness, you begin to notice how it colors every part of your existence. Even mundane tasks take on new meaning because they are connected to something larger than themselves. You find joy not only in big moments, but also in the quiet rhythms of daily life. The simple act of showing up becomes a testament to your commitment to live authentically. This journey is not about perfection or constant excitement. It's about presence and purpose. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when the passion feels faint or out of reach. On those days, remember that fulfillment is not the absence of struggle, but the presence of meaning amidst struggle. It is the decision to keep moving forward, even when the path is unclear, trusting that each step is part of a larger unfolding. You may also find that following your passion transforms your relationships. When you live with authenticity and intention, you attract others who resonate with your energy and values. Your passion becomes a bridge, connecting you to a community of like-minded individuals who support and inspire one another. These connections enrich your journey, providing encouragement during challenges and celebrating with you in moments of triumph. Ultimately, following your passion invites you into a life that is deeply yours, a life where fulfillment is not a distant goal, but a lived experience. It asks you to be brave, to be patient, and to be kind to yourself along the way. It reminds you that the pursuit of what you love is one of the most meaningful gifts you can give yourself and the world. So keep listening to the quiet call within, keep nurturing your passions, and keep moving forward with courage and grace. In doing so, you weave a life story that is rich with purpose, joy, and fulfillment, a story that is unmistakably and beautifully your own. As you continue this path, you may find that the true essence of following your passion lies not just in what you achieve, but in how you grow and transform along the way. Each experience, whether marked by success or setback, contributes to your evolving sense of self and deepens your understanding of what fulfillment really means. You learn that passion is not a destination, but a journey, one that invites you to explore, to risk, to learn, and ultimately to become. There will be moments when the world feels overwhelming, when doubt and fear threaten to overshadow your enthusiasm. Yet it is precisely in these moments that passion shows its strength, offering you a light to navigate the darkness. It reminds you why you started, fuels your resilience, and helps you find meaning even in the struggle. This is the quiet power of passion. It sustains you not just when things are easy, but especially when they are hard. In embracing passion as a guiding force, you also cultivate a deeper connection to yourself. You begin to recognize your needs, your values, and your dreams more clearly. You develop the courage to make choices aligned with your authentic self rather than conforming to external expectations. This alignment brings a profound sense of peace and fulfillment that no external validation can provide. Your journey will be uniquely yours, shaped by your experiences, your insights, and your evolving passions. And as you move forward, you'll find that fulfillment is not a singular moment to be reached, but a continuous unfolding, a dynamic interplay between your passions, your purpose, and the life you create each day. So continue to honor your passions with patience and openness. Let them guide you toward a life that feels rich and meaningful. And through this ongoing journey, discover the lasting fulfillment that comes from living true to who you are. With each step you take, you deepen your relationship with your passion and, in turn, with yourself. This connection becomes a source of strength and inspiration, allowing you to navigate life's uncertainties with greater clarity and confidence. You begin to see that fulfillment is not something to be chased or captured, but something that grows naturally when you live in alignment with your true desires and values. As you embrace your passions fully, you may notice a shift in how you experience time. Moments stretch and deepen. What once felt routine or mundane now pulses with significance. Your work, your relationships, your daily activities all become opportunities to express your authentic self. This sense of purpose imbues your life with meaning, transforming ordinary days into a meaningful journey. You might also find that pursuing your passion leads you to unexpected places and people, opening doors to new experiences and relationships that enrich your life. These connections become part of your story, weaving together a tapestry of shared purpose and mutual support. Through these bonds, your passion takes on a life beyond yourself, touching others and creating a ripple effect of inspiration and fulfillment. Remember, too, that passion is not a solitary pursuit. It thrives in community and connection. Sharing your journey, your struggles, your joys, your discoveries with others deepens its impact and creates a network of encouragement and growth. In this shared space, fulfillment becomes a collective experience as much as a personal one. Ultimately, the role of passion in life's purpose is profound because it calls you to live authentically, to pursue what truly matters, and to contribute meaningfully to the world around you. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Through passion, you find a pathway to fulfillment that is as unique as you are. An ever-evolving journey of becoming that leads you closer to the fullest expression of yourself. This journey of following your passion teaches you patience and resilience, revealing that fulfillment is not a sudden event, but a gradual unfolding. With time, you come to appreciate the quiet moments, the small victories, the lessons learned from failures, and the steady progress made when you refuse to give up. Each of these moments builds upon the last, creating a foundation of meaning that supports you through life's inevitable ups and downs. As you deepen your commitment to your passion, you also cultivate a greater sense of self-awareness. You learn to listen more closely to your inner voice, to discern what truly resonates with your heart amidst the noise of external expectations and pressures. This awareness guides you in making choices that align with your authentic self, leading to a life that feels more coherent and satisfying. Moreover, following your passion invites you to live with greater courage. It requires stepping into the unknown, embracing uncertainty, and being willing to take risks. This courage is not reckless, but grounded in a deep sense of purpose. It empowers you to move beyond fear and hesitation, opening the door to new possibilities and growth. In embracing your passion fully, you begin to experience fulfillment not as a distant goal, but as a present reality. It is woven into the fabric of your daily life, in the way you approach your work, the quality of your relationships, and the sense of meaning you derive from your activities. This fulfillment sustains you, providing energy and motivation to keep moving forward even when challenges arise. Ultimately, following your passion leads you to a life of authenticity and purpose. It allows you to contribute your unique gifts to the world and to live in a way that reflects your deepest values. This alignment brings a profound sense of fulfillment, one that transcends circumstances and endures through the passage of time. So continue to nurture your passion with care and dedication. Let it be the compass that guides you through life's complexities and the flame that lights your way. In doing so, you create a life rich with meaning, joy, and fulfillment, one that is truly your own.